Hello again, friends. This is Dan once again. This time we're going back to the New Testament, the small book of Philemon. Uh, so if you go all the way to the book of Revelation and you turn left a ways, just before the book of Hebrews, you'll come along the small one chapter book of Philemon. Although it's a small book, there is a lot of valuable information to be gleaned. As a side note, what does the word glean mean? Try saying that 10 times in a row. I can't. Well, anyway, thanks for asking. Instead of a welfare system, ancient Israel had a system of gleaning. And what would happen was a farmer would go through his field one time and harvest everything he could. And then the poor could walk through after that and get whatever's left, whatever was on the ground. But like I said, the farmer could only go through their field once. Well, back to the story of Philemon. Paul, who's now a prisoner in Rome during this time, is addressing an old friend and fellow believer, Philemon, concerning a runaway slave named Onesimus, who had escaped, came to Rome, and became a believer through Paul's ministry. Just like Philemon had become a believer through Paul's ministry also. Philemon was a wealthy farmer, maybe a rancher, who had lots of livestock and also had slaves. This letter is also addressed to probably his wife, Apphia, I hope I'm saying that right, and his son, who was Archippus. And Apphia may have been in charge of the slaves, I think. Well, anyway, Paul made his request as a friend to Philemon to receive Onesimus, the runaway slave, back, but not as a slave, but as a very dear brother. Paul explains that he could have made it a command due to his apostolic position, and not to mention, although he does mention, that Philemon owes Paul his very life. Paul is very confident that Philemon will honor his request willingly and not grudgingly. Paul also offers to pay any debt that Onesimus's, that's hard to say too, Onesimus' escape may have caused Philemon. So what's the lesson, or what's the point? Well, God's will is not for slavery. God's will is also not for divorce. But because of man's sinful nature, God has set guidelines knowing that man would sin in these areas, but the guidelines were to keep it from being worse than what it was already going to be. Isn't it amazing that the Industrial Revolution happened after slavery was ended in many countries such as America and in Europe? From King David's day, for example, until George Washington's day, people traveled by horseback and on ships. In the 1800s, trains were added, but from Abraham Lincoln's time, we have gone from horseback and trains and boats to cars, and then flying in airplanes at the speed of sound, communicating at the speed of light, and even landing on the moon. It's amazing. I've got the links below, and you can read the book for yourself, and may God richly bless you.